An erasure of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Not a story for children by C.S. Lewis. Erased by Christopher Claus. Chapter 1. And who are you? The sort of creepy badger. Snake, fox, look out. 10 to 1, this adventure's the sort that you never expected of a big wardrobe. All except Lucy. She stepped into the wardrobe, in among the dark, and noticed the crunching of soft fur ahead of her, a long way off in the middle of the wood, between the dark and the daylight. I began to walk forward, crunch, crunch, over the snow toward the lamppost, pitter-patter of feet among the trees, white with snow, like man, but like a glossy black tail trailing in the snow, strange, short forehead, hands brown. Lucy gave such a start of surprise. Goodness gracious me! I did not reply. A daughter of Eve. A girl, human, of course. Stupid daughter of Eve, I say, and then stop myself. I am very pleased, and the great castle of Cair Paravel should know all about it. Winter in Narnia has been so long, and we shall catch the daughter of Eve, thank you very much. I was just round the corner, that's the way. Now Lucy found herself walking through the wood, where the ground hills up, turned suddenly aside at the last moment into a cave. Now we shan't be long, little friend, daughter of Eve. And it made Lucy want to cry. She really must go home, shaking, frightened eyes filled with tears trickling down, and she began to howl. You ought to be great, crying, oh, oh, oh. I'm such a bad father now. Picture what I've done under the White Witch. That's what I am. In the pay of the White Witch who makes it always winter, and never Christmas. Awful kidnapper for that daughter of Eve, that poor innocent child in the wood, do harm, and pretend to be friendly with it, lull it to sleep, and then hand it over to the White Witch. I would do anything. I have, and yet not sorry. Daughter of Eve, don't you understand? I'm doing it now, child. I had orders from the White Witch to catch and hand them over to her first, to wait till sleep, and then tell her. She's sure to find out, wave her wand, and especially angry, she'll turn into stone, a statue in her horrible house at Cair Paravel, and that will happen. Of course, I suppose the whole wood is full of her spies. Even the trees are kept to the darkest places. The lamp-post looked like daylight. Can you ever forgive me? I do hope you won't. Farewell, daughter of Eve. Perhaps I would carry her. Rough branches brushing past, crunching snow under feet, wooden boards, and all at once the wardrobe. The same empty room, panting for breath. I'm here. I've come. I found the other three. I was hiding. Poor old Lou. You were not making up a witch and Narnia. Others did not see wood and snow, only a hoax half believed. A hoax, a joke, something she hardly knew. For the next few days I sneered and could not enjoy the day. I hid in the wardrobe. Inside Narnia, so complicated and full of magic, Edmund came, just to vanish. I know the smell of darkness. No sign of Lucy. I'm come to catch him, keeping very quiet. I jumped in the dark, very surprised. There was no answer. Edmund found himself the only living creature in that wood, as far as he could see. He shivered. Angry, Edmund did not like to be alone in this strange, cold, quiet place. I see you, all sulking. When he heard the sound of bells, listen to this gilded, sunrise-covered bells. Fat Edmund See, a golden wand and a golden crown, her face, her very red mouth, a beautiful face, sweeping toward Edmund with the jingling bells so sharp, nostrils like smoke, looking hard at Edmund, rather awkwardly. She looked a queen, the Queen of Narnia. Ha! You shall know, I repeat, you know the Queen, you overgrown dwarf, you boy. A boy, a son of Adam, confused idiot, you human thing. And he dealt with these words, her eyes flaming, her wand dreadful as her mind, poor child. Edmund did obey. He sat at her feet, tucked in, teeth chattering. She began to warm him right down to his toes. Dull son of Adam, Turkish delight. Another drop from her bottle, Turkish delight. Sweet and light to the very center, and Edmund warm and very comfortable. Edmund full of Turkish delight. More, you are full of Turkish delight. But the Turkish delight was an empty box. And Edmund would want more and more Turkish delight, rooms full of Turkish delight, and a nice boy gone. He would Turkish delight all day long, and you must bring the others with you. I might make it a surprise for them. Clever and nasty Turkish delight must wait, Edmund. All right, I've waited. The White Witch has done nothing right. The White Witch is a perfectly terrible person, and all the animals can do all kinds of horrible things, uncomfortable and dangerous. You can't believe anybody. But it would be good fun for all the animals on the side of the witch. Peter, Susan. And now we come to one of the nastiest things in this story. Edmund, sick and sulky, mean and spiteful, becoming nastier every minute, thought that he had to say "shut up" perfectly beastly, out of spite, jeering and nagging, beastly, a row between two beasts, Edmund and me. Madness. I saw to Edmund. Look out, here comes the sharp sword, and made through and beyond it into the head. Life passed. You should never shut yourself up in a wardrobe. Edmund said, There's something sticking into my back, and isn't it cold? And now there was no mistaking it. Susan wanted to take them out of the wardrobe. We can pretend Lucy and Edmund are never dead, the poisonous little beasts. Peter shrugged his shoulders and said no more. Indeed, the stuck-up, self-satisfied prig. Off they went, stamped their feet. Lucy had been slashed with a knife. Edmund had been nailed to the floor. Let's get out. The children stared at each other. I don't know that I'm going to like this place after all, said Susan. The White Witch made an enchantment. Always winter, never Christmas. It doesn't seem safe here. I hid from the humans. A step further. I must try to do something, I think. Imprison them. No. Follow them, easily follow them for an hour. No good frightening the girl, following into a trap. A nasty idea. Still, which is the right side? How do we know that the Queen is in the wrong? We really don't know. And now what are we to do? Moving among the trees, dodging. I don't want to be seen. They were lost. And then they saw a whiskered furry face, the animal paw, the strange beaver tail. I beckoned earnestly to them, so the children got close, so close. There, son of Adam and daughter of Eve, not safe here. I'm a friend, Mr. Beaver. With these words, I gave the signal, a whisper, and the moment felt quite different. Terrifying, a nightmare too lovely to put into words. Each of the children felt something jump inside, a sensation of mysterious horror. Trusting the beaver. They therefore hurried along behind their new friend, tired, hungry. They were standing on the edge of a steep dam. Spurting through the dam there was now a glittering wall of icicles. Here we are, said I. And be careful, and don't slip. There was a nasty drop, a burring sound, the child singing. I went out to where I kept a hatchet, quietly. Then suddenly, just as Peter came in already with his knife, why, now we can get to business, because we shan't have any visitors, and anyone trying to follow you won't find any tracks. Ah, that's bad. A very, very bad business. I got the head, and we all know what that means. I'm afraid it means there's not many that ever comes out again. It's dreadful, and it's all on my account. You've no chance of ever coming out alive. Once again, that strange feeling. Susan never has come back and meets death. Why, daughter of Eve, that's what I brought you here for. Ooh, said Susan. Then he isn't safe? Safe? Who said anything about safe? Said Mr. Beaver, bringing his paw down with a crash. So, things must be drawing near their end. Human blood all through in Narnia. Because of another prophecy. It's a saying in Narnia that when 2 sons of Adam and 2 daughters of Eve came along, your lives wouldn't be worth a shake of my whiskers. Then during the moment of silence that followed, there was a dreadful pause. The snow was falling thickly and steadily. Green ice of the pool had vanished under a thick white blanket, and there was not even an echo. What on earth are we to do, Mr. Beaver? There's no point, there's no use, Mr. Beaver. He has betrayed us all. Oh, surely, really, everything they wanted to say died on their lips. Mr. Beaver has already met the White Witch and joined her side. Treacherous. You can always tell them if you've lived long in Narnia, something about their eyes. He is rather a little beast, and the witch, her job done, 4 new statues in her collection, she'll keep him alive because she'll want to use him. It is very important to know whether the witch couldn't turn Aslan into stone too. Aslan shall be cut off this very night. Mysterious and horrible and lovely, Adam's flesh and Adam's bone say nasty things about that awful Aslan. Deep down, bad and cruel. I was growing darker every minute, and wet and cold and bruised all over. The silence and the loneliness were dreadful, rather confusing. I began to be afraid. Too late to think of turning back, heart beating as if it would burst. I was cold stone. There were spirits here, growling. I tell Her Majesty the White Witch. I've done the best I can. A slow, cruel smile came over the witch's face. Without bells. Too heavy. A great deal too heavy. Then the moon disappeared. Her power already crumbling. Didn't I tell you? The witch's magic weakening. That deep shiver couldn't say anything at all. Father Christmas, with shield and a sword, bow and a quiver full of arrows, and a little ivory horn, he said, I mean to fight in the battle. I do not easily miss. He gave a small dagger. He said, the dagger is to defend yourself, for you are also to be in the battle. That is the point, he said. Battles are ugly. And now he suddenly looked grave. Here is something for you, and he brought out his sword. And what a mercy the knife went into Mr. Beaver. They had finished. Time to be moving on now. He expected the witch. He grinned in a repulsive manner. The witch suddenly turned on him with a terrible expression on her face. The snow was again falling. Kill you. I must. You know. Immediately he shot into the darkness, whipped the witch, drove the front of something glass in her face. Father Christmas, stammered the witch. A drop of blood appeared on her white cheek. When that happened, there was a strange, sweet noise. There was a drip, drip, drip. It's no good, Your Majesty, said the vicious jerk. Your winter has been destroyed, I tell you. Something had gone wrong, and badly wrong, with the witch's schemes. People who have not been in Narnia sometimes think that a thing cannot be good and terrible at the same time. He drew his sword and raised it. Aslan suddenly came, shook his mane, and clapped his paws together. Meanwhile, his sword still drawn in his hand like a silver snake, shining, he saw all the other creatures start forward, and Aslan, a huge beast. As it was, all this happened too quickly. Then came a horrible, confused moment, like something in a nightmare. He was tugging and pulling, and everything was blood and heat and hair. A moment later, he lay dead. When he had drawn his sword, it was all over. Never forget to wipe your sword. They would let him lie still. It was the oddest thing to see those two faces, the golden face and the dead white face, so close together. You have a traitor there. I have a right to kill, said Aslan, and his great mouth opened wider and wider, and the roar grew louder and louder. And that is the very end of the adventures of the wardrobe.